Hey guys, the Explorer of Horror here, the Horror Boy. Welcome back to some more videos. And today I am joined by my best friend, one of my best friends of all time, John Grande, the legend himself at Grande's Graveyard. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing too. Sweet! How you doing, good brother Nate? We are
Oh, I'm
live
doing
here
awesome,
in
man.
Murphy's mortuary.
Yeah, here in Murphy's Mortuary, man. How you been doing, man? You seen movies lately? I know you've been watching some quite a few movies lately. I've been seeing you update it.
Yeah,
Um,
I've been watching stupid Argento films, man. Like every other fucking day, I've been watching Argento films. But yeah, I've been really enjoying myself with it. I've watched the Stenhall Syndrome, Deep Red, and I just did my video of the Three Mothers trilogy review. So I revisited Mother of
mhm.
Tears and Suspiria for that. So been on a big Argento kick. But other than that, I've been watching. I have tons of stuff here. Jesus, there's so much. I actually watched this son of a bitch last night, which I love.
Oh
Joyride.
yeah, you was telling me that. Yeah,
Yeah,
I believe it or not, I've never seen that before. Never seen it before in my
really.
life.
Wow, that's actually
I have it
surprising.
though. I
I
have it, but
will.
I've never watched.
I highly recommend it. Believe it or not, Jar Jar Abrams wrote this movie. And I
Whoa,
would say it's probably his best work.
that's crazy. I didn't even know that at all. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
it's a good flick. I actually watched it with the alternate ending this time, and I gotta say that the alternate ending I thought was maybe a little bit better than the theatrical ending. Uh, it was interesting to see because I had never seen it before, and it kind of had a much different non-horror movie type ending,
Mhm.
uncliche ending. I will just leave it at that. Really cool ending though. I liked revisiting this one. This has a really really good cast.
Yeah, I've always been interested in seeing it. It's got a wonderful lineup on it.
It really does.
It looks
Yeah, I
interesting.
mean, totally. Rest in peace, Paul Walker and Steve Zahn. It was awesome, and Leeloo Zabiskie is always good to look at. But how about you, man? I know you've been on a big Star Wars kick. Uh oh, did I lose him?
Oh yeah, dude. The past watching one star.
You've been watching one Star Wars movie a day. All right, man, that's lit.
Am I here?
I can't hear you too
Am I
good.
here?
Can you hear me okay? Are we on a delay or something? I'm still here. Shit. Uh oh. Nate, before this
All
show
right, all right.
started, was
Am I back? Am I back?
yeah,
Am I
you're
back?
back now. You good?
Yeah, yeah.
You, you hear me
So
okay?
yeah, am I coming in clear?
Yeah, it's a little bit delayed. I don't know why. Maybe I'm delayed?
So you hear me like 3 seconds after I speak?
Yeah, that's why I don't want to interrupt you or anything. I feel bad.
Mm.
Here, let me see.
If it happens, it's fine.
I don't want to interrupt you or anything. I feel bad. Yeah. All right, I'm just looking how it's going on the broadcast. So it looks okay on the broadcast.
Okay. You want to keep going with it or?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to keep going with it. I
Okay.
don't know
All right.
why
All right.
I lost you for a minute there. Repeat what you were talking about Star Wars. I'm sorry, I didn't get any of it.
Sorry, I have technical difficulties. Yeah, I've been watching the prequels lately, man. I've been really getting into them. They're long movies, but they're a lot to take in. Like I've only been watching one movie per day because I can't do all three of them in one day. That's just insanity to me. But yeah, I've been watching that, and believe it or not, a lot of '90s comedies. Like I've been watching Naked Gun and a lot of those just because they got on Netflix. They got a big giant slew of '90s comedies. So believe it or not, I haven't been watching too much horror lately, man.
That happens, man. That happens from time to time. I'll just get on a kick of something else. For a while, it happened. I was watching a lot of Japanese anime, and I was watching no horror. I went from like hardcore R-rated horror films, and then switched to G-rated anime from Japan from the '90s. So
Yeah, man. It's just I think once you get so much horror, you just kind of have that little vacation for a little bit, and then you go back to it. It's always good to revisit it
definitely,
and then take a breather. Yeah.
definitely, it's like a little burnout
Um.
moment.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. For sure. Um. I don't know why, but there was something else I wanted to ask you before we started, but or when we while we were here at the beginning, but I forgot it. And maybe it'll come back to me later. Uh, uh, yeah. So talking about today, The Shining, which is one of my favorite films out there, one of my favorite horror films. I know that we both really like Kubrick's work. Was The Shining the first movie that introduced you to Kubrick, or did you watch Clockwork Orange or 2001: A Space Odyssey? Like, was this the one that got you introduced to him? And what's your thoughts on Kubrick?
Believe it or not, this was the first Kubrick film I watched, and I remembered immediately being enamored by the movie, thinking the movie was terrifying. Thought it was so well acted and directed, and just the whole scope of the film as a whole was just incredible. And I gotta say that for my thoughts on Kubrick, look no further than this set right here. I've got this awesome Stanley Kubrick Blu-ray Legendary Filmmaker Collection. It's got 8 Kubrick films, and man, or 7, I'm sorry. And then the 8th film is actually a documentary, honoring Kubrick. And I got this, and man, I can't lie to you, like this is one of my favorite sets I own. Just some of the movies in here, it's actually pretty badass. I don't know how well y'all will be able to see this stuff. We got Lolita, which I think is his most underrated movie, a really, really good flick. 2001: Space Odyssey, love that one. Um, of course, Clockwork Orange, which is my favorite of Kubrick. We got Barry Lyndon, which is a fucking amazing little movie too. This is actually the TV cut of The Shining, 120 minutes,
Hmm.
so it's about 20 something minutes
Hmm.
cut out of the film, which is actually really cool. Um, Full Metal Jacket, and then Eyes Wide Shut, which is his last movie. I will say right off the bat, I think Stanley Kubrick is the best filmmaker of all time, in my humble opinion. And the reason for that is he really never made the same movie twice. And he dabbled in a lot of different genres. Like he dabbled in drama, he dabbled in comedy, he dabbled in, horror. He dabbled in everything, war movies. And every single time he was able to bring something else new to the table that was able to reinvent himself as a filmmaker. Because like when I look into the transition of a Barry Lyndon, and then the next movie he made was The Shining, of course. Barry Lyndon's a very boring, long period piece film, and it's a good movie. But when you turn up the volume, when you go to the horror genre to try to make a hit, which is what Kubrick was trying to do with this movie, his previous movie had been a flop at the box office. He said, "Fuck it." He says, "Horror movies are the big rave right now. I'm gonna make one of them some bitches." And out comes The Shining, setting the world on fire. And it is a movie that has stood the test of time. So I think, Stanley Kubrick is the real reason why this movie works. And I think he's the best filmmaker of all time. It's him and Quentin Tarantino for me. They're definitely my two favorites. And then Romero, of course, would be somewhere in there as well. But uh, yeah, this was the one that introduced me. And man, I've not really been let down ever since by Mr. Kubrick. But how about you, brother? What was this the first Kubrick film you ever saw? And what are your thoughts on the legendary Stanley Kubrick?
Um. Well, this actually was the first movie that introduced me to Stanley Kubrick. The old school VHS tape of this movie, and when I first seen it, was on VHS. It was a VHS classic poster. It was very common, but it's a yellow poster with the face and the T. Um, it had that poster on it, and I watched the old school VHS, and I'm very old. I mean, I'm 15, 14, maybe something like that when I first seen it, and it gave me the chills, dude. I really get into it. But Stanley Kubrick as I can really respect his work, even though I have to cover most more of his like there's plenty of them that I haven't seen yet that are apparently must sees, like pretty much all of them. Um, like Fulci, like Romero, like Craven, like Carpenter. One day I want to track these people's work down and just see them all. And I will say that I've heard that in person, like personally, he wasn't a very good person. So I don't know about like personally if like how he acted around people, if I would really like respect that. But as a filmmaker, I've got to give him all the props I can give. I mean, he's easily one of the best filmmakers, and he used to be my favorite. What's so hard about that is that there's so many great filmmakers out there, but Stanley Kubrick, the way he brings his visuals to his movies, the visuals never age. They will never get old. They will always be impactful. And that's the one thing I always noted about Stanley is, and also he's able to do stuff that's out of the times. He's not a guy whose movie is going to be held back by age, or because A Clockwork Orange surprised me. It really surprised me with everything that was in the graphicness of it and how. By the way, what's up, Devin? What's up, Chuck? What's up, Eric? Um. Oh yeah. Eric says not a huge Kubrick fan, or fan, but I think Clockwork Orange is great. Yeah, I agree. It's the thing. Stanley Kubrick is not for everybody. His films are very a distinct taste. I mean, hell, even Stephen King isn't much of a Stanley Kubrick guy. But what I can really respect about Stanley Kubrick is his visuals and his direction and the way he put so much time and effort, whether it was for the good or the bad. He put so much of himself into a film. He never went into a movie and just half-assed it. He put 100% into his work. So yeah, as a filmmaker, got a lot of respect for him. And this is the movie that introduced me to Stanley Kubrick. And then after this, I seen Metal Jacket, and then I seen Clockwork Orange. So I seen most of his popular stuff.
Yeah, I think he's just fantastically versatile, and in a lot of ways, like a Tarantino would go on to be. Like Tarantino's the same way. Like every movie he makes is kind of different from the last. Like you don't watch Reservoir Dogs and at all connected to a movie like Death Proof or Jackie Brown. You know what I mean? Like they're just all different in their own ways. And Kubrick's the same. I think Kubrick's the same. Like I love that a director of his stature wanted to make a horror film. A lot of directors at that point in their career are like, screw horror, man. That's not art. And the fact that he didn't feel he was above it, and he found something in Stephen King's novella that, attracted him to the genre and wanted to make a genre film from that. I have a lot of respect for him for that, because I don't think a lot of filmmakers at that point in their career would have taken that step or direction or anything like that. So I have, the utmost respect for the guy.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. To get into his other films real quick, what are your thoughts? Because I know that you've seen all of them, I assume, because you have the collection. What are your thoughts on Full Metal Jacket and Clockwork Orange? I mean, those are two very unique films right there.
Clockwork Orange is actually my second favorite movie of all time. I'll never forget renting it from the public library when I was really young. It was after I had seen this movie. And they used to, do you remember back in the day, they had these lists in the library. It was like the top 100 films, or
Yeah.
and they had a piece of paper for each different genre. And I think the number one sci-fi film was 2001. Then it was Star Wars. And then this movie was like number 3 or number 4. And I was like, yo, this guy's made 2 of the top 5 sci-fi movies ever made. I got to see these. And when I saw Clockwork Orange, I was completely blown away, even from the first time I saw it, because it has so much going on about it. Like it dives into the grindhouse genre. It dives into ultra violence. It dives into, the question of, if man can cease to choose, does that make him a man? And I love how they tackle that in the movie, because they force him almost to become good, from this disgusting scoundrel to become a good guy, and it makes him sick, and at that point it almost dehumanizes him. And I don't know, I think the movie is vibrant as hell. The colors just pop off the screen. It's gorgeous to watch. The story's there. Malcolm McDowell's performance is fantastic. And then when you look at a movie like Full Metal Jacket, it's completely different it's a war film that discusses 2 parts and 2 sides of the war, right? It's like a half and half movie. The first half is like a horror film. The first half is the horrors of boot camp and the horrors of going from everyday life in society and being put into this disgusting camp like this, and drills and push-ups and sit-ups and dealing with other people that you may not know or like. And then the slow descent into madness for Vincent D'Onofrio's character, as he finally just snaps. And then the second half is your standard war movie with really colorful characters, and it begs the question of the duality of man. You know, you have the lead character Matthew Modine. He's killing in the war, but he also has a peace sign on his helmet. So it really forces the viewer to make up for their own mind what is peace and what is duality and what is good and what is evil. And I just love that. I love that Kubrick really challenges us as viewers to sort of figure his films out as a whole. And I think both of those films, while they have a lot to say, they have different things to say and different ways of saying it. So I don't know. I think that's the way with almost all Kubrick films. They all have something different to bring to the table and bring it to the table in a different way. So it's pretty badass, man.
First of all, John, I gotta say that is one of the best analogies I've ever heard in my life for Stanley Kubrick. Fantastic, man. That was 10 out of fucking 10 right there.
This is why I love the horror boy, everybody. Love this guy. Big heart.
Oh, man. Thanks, dude. Yeah. Rock on, dude. Yeah, dude. I don't know what else I can say about it. I mean, yeah, it's the two movies right there that I really think are solid films. Am I here?
No, you good. I spaced out.
Oh, okay. Okay. I was just I was like, oh no. But yeah, they're two movies that have really similar impacts in the fact that they were both very controversial when they came out. But in different ways. And The Clockwork Orange, I can agree with you, man, is easily just one of the best movies I've ever seen in my entire life because it's just so unique and different. And The Full Metal Jacket is the same way. It's one of my favorite war movies, if not my favorite war movie. Well, whether I like that or Platoon, I don't know. I love Platoon a lot, but there's two big ones that I really think are the greatest. It's Full Metal Jacket and Platoon. But yeah, man, I really respect what you say. I mean, that's probably the best analogy I've heard. And I agree with you, man. I agree with you.
Thank you. I appreciate it, brother.
Yeah, totally, man. Yeah, to get into The Shining, though, this is an interesting film. I know there's a lot of metaphors in this movie and things that don't really, because they even made a documentary about it, which was, I guess, a mockumentary, where it was like going over the theories about the movie. Like, do you believe that any of that's real? I was watching snippets of that documentary and I was just like, there's no way this is real. There's just no way.
That documentary is such a piece of shit, and I'll tell you why. It's a bunch of fucking snobs that think they know film, trying their best to be like, oh, I knew what The Shining meant, and I knew what he was. You don't know dick, okay? You don't know shit. Stop telling me. There's one scene in this movie, I'm not kidding you, the Room 237, right? Where she says, oh, there's a scene where you see the twins, and behind her is a poster of a skier. And I convinced myself that was a Minotaur. And the whole movie had Minotaur vibes. And I was like, yo, are you kidding me that they paid this woman? They let this woman on the documentary. She's, oh my God, dude. It pissed me off.
Everybody involved in that project made money. That's the saddest thing too, man.
It's a joke.
It's a joke. I was curious because I didn't know if you've seen it or not, but I'd watched snippets of it, and I'm like sitting there going, "There's no way! Like, what is this?" They started bringing stuff to the Holocaust. I'm like, "Whoa, where's the Holocaust in this movie?" You know, never any of those five or the moon landing. What the hell? Oh, man, and he doesn't hold your hand. Yeah, I think that's what it is, and that might be partially why people get so pissed off because, like, well, it's a bunch of visuals, but there's no answer. It's like, well, the answer's up to you. It's how it is. You know, it's everything is up to your mind and how you perceive things. It's not gonna hold your hand, and I like that. You know, I really do. Yeah, it's ridiculous, man. Ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't understand really. Like why all these people they like okay. I'm not opposed to someone having an opinion or a thought on a film or a message or a meaning. I'm not trying to say I'm against that. It's the fact that they were stating it as if it was fact. Like this one guy was like, "Oh, the movie was about the Native American War." That's 100% what it was about. And I was just like,
yeah, they were serious with a fucking heartbeat, man. That was a heart attack.
Yeah, like, can I explain to that guy what a theory is as opposed to a fact? Like, what are you doing? Like he's like, oh, I saw a Calumet can, and that means that the movie was all about the Native American War. I'm like, fuck you. Okay,
Yeah,
you don't know shit.
you
Bunch
can
of
do that with any movie out there, any movie at all. You can do the same thing. Well, that has a poster of something over there that could equal this. It's like you could do that for any film. That doesn't make it real. Doesn't make it truth. You know, it's never
yeah.
about that.
I was waiting for someone to be like, "Oh, there's a Heinz ketchup bottle, and the whole movie is a metaphor of Heinz ketchup." That's how terrible and ridiculous these fucking theories were. I'm just like, "Yo, why are we doing this right now? Like, you've got to be fucking kidding me." But I don't know. They all got paid. Like I'll be honest with you, and I've told you about this. I have my own theory of what the ending means and stuff, but in no way do I think my thoughts on it is a fact. It's a theory and it's a far-fetched theory, but I don't think it's a fact. If someone asked me, I would tell them my theory, but uh-oh.
I
Things
got
froze.
into it. I got into it.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate you getting into it.
Yeah. For anybody out there who's wondering, we're talking about the Room 237 documentary. Not what 13, 14 documentary. Man, really ridiculous. To get into it real quick, it's such a classic.
Can you repeat that? Because I didn't get it. You said.
I'm gonna
Maybe try turning the camera off. Maybe you're right. Oh shit. Oh shit. All right. Nate's gone. um Well, I feel terrible because I didn't hear a word Nate said, so I don't really know where to go. I guess we could talk a little bit about this son of a bitch. Um, oh, okay, he's back, thankfully. Loading back in. Slowly but surely. Surely. Can you hear me? Yeah, Skynet is taking over, dude. I don't know how to describe the comment, but you're right. Skynet's taking over Nate. John Connor! Oh, John Connor got shot.
sorry.
That's okay. Maybe you're right. Maybe you should turn your camera off. I don't know.
I I could try it, but it's just like it's like ever since I started doing StreamYard, it like crashes, but it never does it for your stream. So maybe it's my internet. I don't know.
We could try this. I'm sorry. I did not hear anything you said like after uh you started talking briefly and then you asked me a question, but I couldn't hear any of it. So I'm sorry. But
I'm really sorry about that, John. I'm really sorry about all this.
nothing to be sorry about. I feel terrible. I couldn't hear you.
No, it's fine. But what do you think makes The Shining stick out amongst other horror films, and what makes it so unique? Like, what makes it so different than the other horror films in the '80s? It's definitely different.
That is a great question. By the way, to Hey Internet Eric here, thank you for subbing for me. I'll hit you
Oh,
back.
crap.
I'll hit you back at the end of this. But why I think okay, there's a very good reason why this movie does stand apart. And it is, honest to God, the departure from the source material. And I know a lot of hardcore King fans will not be happy to hear that. And a lot of hardcore King fans will go, what the hell do you know? But here's my thing. Like, I've seen the other version of The Shining that Stephen King does approve of, and it keeps most of the book intact, if not all of the book intact, right? This movie was able to change things about the book and make them better here in the film. I love the fact that at the end it's and hello to Chuck Calkins. How you doing, brother?
Yeah,
Um,
hello everybody out there. Sorry I didn't say hello yet, but hello everybody.
it's all right. They're the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be, man. Just kind of like Kubrick, but yeah, man, I like the fact that they change it from a mallet in the book to an axe in the film. I like the fact that they change it from these evil animal garden hedges to the hedge maze in the film. And I just think I think there's something like super amazing about what he was able to change and effectively change. And of course, the
Mm,
opening music is iconic. The Nicholson performance is iconic. The creep cinematography and the creep kind of I think great tracking shots where the kid is just riding around on the tricycle going from carpet to hardwood, from carpet to hardwood. I think that's brilliant, man. It's creepy without forcing it upon you because it's all genuine. And I think Kubrick just nails it. Everything he changes, everything that he brought to the table, he nailed it and he made it work effectively in a horror film setting. Because this was
yeah,
a guy that I know a lot of people, we all love Kubrick and I'm obviously one of them, but he was foreign to making horror. Like there's the
first
thing,
one.
like Wes Craven was a veteran at making horror, whereas Kubrick this was his first and only one and he fucking nailed it on his first try. I think it's just one of those movies. It's lightning in a bottle. I think he affected all the things he changed correctly. I think the movie introduced some ways to shoot scenes that we had never seen before. Like the beautiful tracking shots and the great music, great cinematography, great performance by this guy Jack Nicholson, and I think that's why it's iconic, man. You can't go to a horror convention without seeing this iconic artwork. We can't go back and look at the history of horror without this scene where Jack Torrance breaks in and hears Johnny and Shelley Duvall screams in terror. I think it's just iconic horror 101, man. And for better or worse, all the things that he changed, he made work. So I don't know. I think that's really what sets this one apart. But how about you, man?
Well, I mean, I'm in the same boat as you. I totally agree. And there's been plenty of Stephen King movies to make differences to the novels. I mean, I've read most of the novels from Stephen King, not his literal stuff. I've read Carrie and Cujo and Pet Sematary, stuff like that. And the movies make differences. They're different than the books, that's for sure. Not every single novel or movie adaptation follows the novel. But I think the way I can put it is Stephen King made it work in the book. Kubrick made it work in the film. And I don't really know if the book version would fit the movie version, and they've tried it and it didn't work out so well. So
True.
I'm in the same boat as you, man. I think it's a very different horror film in the 80s because you think about it, no other movie in the 80s did stuff like this. Like nothing in the 80s was this pure and like I'm not saying pure. I'm saying there's a lot of good movies in the 80s. It was more about effects. It was more about the practical stuff, whereas Shining was more about the psychological stuff. And if you look at the 80s, there's a few psychological things, but when you look at the whole general overall spectral of 80s horror, most of it was really fun, horror films or slasher films. They really weren't too logical. This is the barriers for that, in my opinion, and made things like Jacob's Ladder a little bit more possible, like making that movie really come into play, making other great classes come into play. And to me, that's what makes it so different than the other films in the 80s.
Yeah, yeah, it really does. And it's one of its own kind. Like I will say, I honestly think this. I think this is the best horror film in the 1980s. And that's a lot. That is saying a lot, man. Um,
Oh
Here's a
yeah.
question I have for you. Why do you think this movie at the time of its release, because actually, believe it or not, a lot of people forget about this. At the time of this movie's release, it was poorly received by most critics and modern day cinema moviegoers. They were not all really that impressed with Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. Why do you think there was that disconnect initially? Also, why do you think that to this day, I know plenty of people that can't really get into this movie. Do you have any
Mhm.
thoughts, ideas about why that is?
Um, because it's a movie that takes a lot of time to digest. You can't just watch this movie, and I know you're not a really big fan of it, but why I compare it to Hereditary so much is because when you first watch it, at the end of the movie, you're like, what the hell is this? Like, let me go back and rewatch it again. Like, I gotta go back and rewatch Hereditary because I can't digest that. I will see Hereditary. I will say that. Um, same effect where, yeah, man, I can't sit there and say the best horror
Sorry.
from the decade, but yeah, I totally, I had the same feeling again, and it was more a complicated horror film, I guess. To give you the answers, doesn't hold your hand, like I said before. It doesn't really provide you all the answers, and I think back then people were wanting that, and then they weren't expecting of a movie. Plus, Kubrick, like you said, wasn't familiar with horror, so he really wasn't doing the horror film that most experienced horror film directors were doing at the time. So he was trying something out of his bag, something new, something different, different thing actions to be like, Halloween 2 has a fan base. I'm not part of that. Like Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. It's a different movie, way different, and it's not a typical horror film. I don't think it's that in a good way, but some people do. It's about how different the movie is, and if people can really digest it or not. But also, people read the novel back then. You got to think about the novel was a big hit, and people read the novel nonstop. And the novel is a lot more straight ahead and gives you more answers, whereas the movie doesn't give you too many answers. It's more of plugging everything in for yourself. But if you really think about it, it's a basic plot. I mean, people go into the top of this, mountain up in the hill, up in the mountains, and this hotel, and someone goes crazy, starts trying to kill people. It's very basic, but the intertwinings of it is what's so hard to digest. The intertwinings of these characters, and you're trying to figure out, okay, so what is The Shining? I mean, you know what it is, but what I want to know more about it. What, and it's mystery. You don't know it. Why did Jack Torrance go crazy? You always wonder that. Could have been cabin fever. Was it a ghost? What was it? What exactly made him go crazy? You don't really know that. So a lot of it is just a straightforward go, and you got to be ready for it, and either love it or not. It's just how it is.
I think that's great. I agree completely. I think that's a great way to look at it. And it's funny. Like I feel like people maybe were expecting so much more. I don't know. Like my thing with
Mhm.
it is it's like ever since I first saw it, I liked it. And like a couple comments over here is Chuck said, scared the hell out of me, brother. It is a scary fucking film, man. It's some scary shit. Like, we're gonna run through some scenes, but I think the movie is does what it's supposed to do. It scares you, it entertains you. It's I think a reason why people don't like it is it's very slow burn. And
That too. Long movie.
some people, no matter what, no matter how good a horror film is, if it's slow burn, they can't get into
Mhm.
it. If something big doesn't happen every few, what's that?
Do you? I hate to cut you off. I was one to ask. Do you think it's like the Blair Witch where it was made expected to be? The movie's very slow. It doesn't show you a whole lot. Or what's more of what happens.
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry, it was very jumbled. I heard Blair Witch somewhere in there.
Um, can you hear me now?
Sorry, I feel so bad.
No, no, you're fine. You can keep going if you want. You can keep going. I'm gonna
No,
try
no,
and fix
no.
this.
Please ask it again. I couldn't hear it, dude.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah. Do you think it's like Blair Witch, where you don't see much? Maybe people wanted to see more. Was it the same thing, or is it different? It's
I
maybe a
think it's a
different reason
case
people hate it.
where it takes a while to get going for people. Like, I think they want to see some scary shit, quick. Whereas the movie really takes its time to settle in. Like, I think some of the dialogue in the opening few scenes is scary. Like when Barry Nelson tells the story of, Charles Grady was the winter caretaker here, and he kind of happened to cut up his wife and kids with an axe, and then Nicholson just kind of smiling, he's like, well, you can rest assured that's not gonna happen with me. I love that, and it's creepy and it's effective. And even some of the scenes where Danny is talking to Tony, and he's talking in the mirror, I don't want to go. Some people, they see that and they're just like, oh my god, this is stupid. But I don't know, man, I just always found it kind of terrifying. I'm like, damn, like this kid has some fucking issues. And you could tell that this family has been through some shit. But I like the slow burn pace and how to get there. I think a lot of modern day people, and people that aren't the biggest horror genre fans, they just don't like slow burn. I think the movie,
Mhm.
when it decides to show, it shows. But with Blair Witch, you don't see anything. It's the whole ambiance
Movie.
of it is they're trying to scare you along the way, just like this one is. The whole movie is slow burn, whereas this is slow burn to a payoff.
Mm.
But yeah, man, I don't know. I would love if there's anybody in the chat. I know Ty was saying he likes the '97 movie, or saying that he wants a sequel to the '97 movie. So I'd assume he likes the '97 movie. What do you not like this movie? Is there a part of the '97 movie you like more than this? Because I know there are just some people that don't connect to The Shining
Yeah.
like you and I do, or Chuck does, or other people that really really enjoy the film. I don't know why that is, but it baffles me. I'd love to know why.
Yeah, yeah, totally. If you guys want to share your opinions in the chat, you guys totally can. I mean, it has to be creepy in some way, though, right? It has to be kind of at least a little bit creepy. I mean, it creeped me out as effective horror film when I first seen it. So I don't know if it's the creep factor. You know, I don't know. It's a hard thing to answer because it comes down to a lot of factors. Maybe direction, maybe style. Slow burn could be a big effect. The subject matter, or maybe it's just too out of the blue too. Because I've heard people say that it was a little too random for their taste. Like a lot of the ending was a lot of random stuff, like blood of the elevators and the dog scene, and Jack just seemed like he kind of went crazy from the beginning of the story. Like nothing really seemed to but that's part to me of what makes it so scary and what made Hereditary so scary. Well, creepy, I can say. I don't want to say it's scary, but it was creepy and unsettling. The fact that you didn't know what was around every single corner. I mean, every time the new scene popped up, something different was happening, and you never expected it to happen. So I wonder, maybe that turned people off. It's curious.
Totally. I totally agree. I don't know. I'd love to know why, but I guess we never will because we enjoy the film.
Mhm.
But man, let's get into some of our favorite scenes, man. What are some of your
Oh
like
yeah.
standout favorite scenes from Stanley Kubrick's The Shining?
I think some of my favorite scenes, which by the way, I'm so jealous you have a Blu-ray. Like, dude, you are so lucky, man.
I got two.
Oh my god. So you have backup too.
Yeah, I got the TV cut backup, which is it's the movie really cut, but I mean, still the movie, I guess.
Um, some of my favorite scenes though, like I love the scene where Jack is looking down the maze. And it's like a slow shot of it zooming down onto the people in the maze. Like, I'm kind of curious how that shot. Like, did they shoot it from a helicopter or something? Because it's a beautiful shot, and I love that scene. It's just so simple, but I love it. Where Danny is on the little tricycle thing, and he's going from wood to carpet, and that whole shot, I just thought it's a simple scene, but the way that it's done, I think, is what makes it so effective. Um, of course, breaking the door down, here's Johnny. The scene where he's talking to his wife, brains, and I'm about to fuck in. That is such a great scene. Give me the bat, give me the bat. Wendy, darling, that scene's awesome too. The old lady scene I thought was really unsettling. I think the two scenes that really three scenes that really scared me as a kid was the old lady scene was really freaking out. The dog scene really was just disturbing. The about it. I don't know. There's a movie that ripped all that easier for this movie and put the same thing. That's from yeah.
Oh boy, I can't hear. I fucking can't understand this kid. I feel so bad. Throwing it up in the chat. Can't hear my man. To our listeners, to everybody listening, can you guys hear Nate? I can't hear Nate. I feel bad. I can't. I don't know if his audio got messed up or. Oh boy. Oh boy. All right. Well, I'll wait for y'all to answer that because I can't hear Nate, my good buddy Nate. But yeah, man. Some of my favorite scenes too. I love. Oh, I hear something. You there, buddy? Maybe not. I don't know. Oh man, I feel so bad. But yeah, some of my favorite scenes. I love the scene that Nate mentioned with the old woman getting out of the tub and going at Jack Torrance. I mean, that's some scary fucking shit. It's an instant. It's one of those scenes where, all right, so Jack's in room 237. He sees this hot bitch in the tub. Right, I'm getting stoked. I'm getting turned on. This is sick. They start making out. Next thing I know, this fucking hot, beautiful woman turns into this scaly old lady, and it's so fucking scary and disturbing. And she just kind of laughs at him, and Jack Nicholson kind of turns back and he starts pacing backwards, and he's like, oh my god, like, oh my god, this is terrifying. And it's just such an effective horror scene, man. So well done. You gotta love that scene because it's just so terrifying. It's the instant boner killer. Like, you're just like, ooh, this is, when you're a kid and you're watching that, you're like, oh man, this is good stuff. And then bam, Kubrick kind of backhands us. Nate, you there, buddy? Dude, it is a boner killer. That old bitch is a boner killer, man.
I won't open much for this. I don't know what the hell is going on with my computer.
Dude, it's all good, man. You're the man. It's bad audio or bad connection or something, man. I don't know what it is. This is make you miss Google Hangouts, right?
Oh my god! So
Do you try maybe doing it on your phone? Do you want to try it from your phone, maybe?
Actually, I could try that. Yeah.
I think that would be the best case scenario because this is the computer letting you down, baby.
Yeah, I could try it. What I could do is set a second account and join this main account, and we can do it from there. I'm just mute this one.
Sure. Yeah, sure. Do you want me to go on about some of my other favorite scenes while you do that?
Sure, if you want to. Yeah, just give me some time to set this up.
Absolutely. All right, I'll talk more scenes. Okay. So another scene that I absolutely adore in The Shining, and a scene that I think it's great, is when Wendy confronts Jack for the first time while he's typing. And Nicholson is he looks very mad and entranced in his work. And Wendy comes up to him. She's like, "Can I get you a sandwich, hun?" And Nicholson, just in classic Jack fashion, just looks at her and he goes, "You're distracting me. You're in my way." And like it's just so damn like you're like, oh shit, like he goes from 0 to 100 in a heartbeat, and he's just so angry at her and cursing at her and stuff like that. And it's gonna take me a while to get back to where I was. And it's just so damn well done. I love Nicholson's, just the way he snaps in this movie and the way he's able to kick it into a different gear and to terrify the shit out of us, man. That's classic Jack
Yeah.
Nicholson because he's just a fucking great actor. And I also love the scene in the bar where, and this is maybe some of Kubrick talking about alcoholism, like in the King novel. Jack Torrance says, "Oh man, I'd sell my fucking soul for a drink right now." Next thing you see is Lloyd, the ghost bartender, and "What'll it be, sir?" And he's ordering drinks, and "You set him up, I'll knock him down, Lloyd." I love that shit, like, because okay, there's so much that Kubrick is addressing while being a scary horror film. You're addressing alcoholism, which is something that's really scary. You have a great, great performance in the scene by both actors, Joe Turkel and Jack Nicholson. And also, you're able to get a little bit of background as to what kind of a father Jack might have been. He says that he accidentally hurt Danny once, and he's on his last leg with his marriage and his family, and all of this stuff is crumbling around him. And I don't know, man, it gets pretty deep. It gets really deep. And most importantly, while it's getting deep, it is creepy and it's effective. And like that's a really great fucking scene because it's the first time in the film where Jack Nicholson experiences the ghosts and the hauntings of the hotel, and not Danny. Up until that point, Danny sees all the crazy shit, and then bam, they go 360 turn, and it's Jack Torrance now, and it's so damn well done, man. Chuck, thank you. Chuck Hawkins agrees with me 100%. I appreciate that, brother. And there's just so many good. It's chock full of great scenes. Like Nate was saying before, the scene where Jack is looking down into the hedge maze replica, and then you watch him look down, and it's an overhead shot, and then Wendy and Danny are in the maze, and I was just like, that's foreshadowing. That's a metaphor because it's basically the film. He is looking into this maze and eventually going to try to kill them. And that's one of the last climaxes of the film is Jack Nicholson chasing Danny into the maze. And I don't know, man. I think that's such good foreshadowing for what is to come. And I think it's just great. I think the slow descent into madness is just so well tackled. I love the "all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy." I love that, and he's written it over and over and over again, and that is what he has been writing for weeks upon months, and slowly losing his fucking mind because no play for Jack equals a crazy Jack. And I just think that's so well damn done. Of course, I love the scenes with Scatman Crothers and Danny Lloyd where they're talking about The Shining itself. We used to think we was the only ones that had the shine to us. Like I love Scatman in this, man. He's good. He's creepy, but he's kind of very likable, heartwarming character at the same time. So that's pretty tough to do, to be kind of scary, intimidating, but at the same time, he's almost a protagonist in the film. So I thought that was always a really, really great performance. But let's see. Is Nate? Are you almost got your phone set up, brother? Oh, maybe not. I still can't hear Nate. Well, hopefully he's getting it set up soon. Okay, he's probably going to be on here soon. Fingers everything crossed. But yeah, man, this movie is just chock full of great scenes, and it's I think a perfect horror film. I love everything about it. Um, Another scene I like. I can keep going. I love this scene towards. Oh, is this the legendary horror boy? I'm on the left now. It's
Yeah.
my stream now, Nancy.
Hey, what's up, man? Am I coming through loud and clear?
I hear you loud and clear. I can't see you. I got 4 eyes though.
Is that better?
I hear you. I can't see you though.
Ah, dang.
I don't have to see you as long
Hmm.
as I can fucking hear you,
Oh,
right?
I know what I can do. Yeah, that's all
Can we
right.
do
I
one
can
of these?
continue to talk. Can you hear me though? Clear?
I hear you. I hear you, buddy. This is like a Sprint commercial. Can you hear me now? um, I'm hogging all your screen time, brother. Let's talk some more Shining. You talk some more Shining. I've talked a lot of
Dude,
Shining.
John, I am so sorry about this, dude. I really am. I feel so
Don't
bad that
be
it's not working.
sorry. You're the
Um,
man. Don't even worry about it.
I'll be getting a new PC soon anyway, so I'll make sure to get that fixed.
I see
But
Nate.
oh my God, there's so many tabs now. Oh man. Oh, maybe here. Let me try this. Oh, that's that camera. All right. Oh, it's not working. Hello?
I see you. I hear you. Oh no, now he's frozen. Oh boy.
All right, am I back?
You back. He the man behind the mask.
Can you see me now?
I see you. 4 eyes,
I'm
2
back.
eyes. I see you. I see you.
All right, now we should be able to be okay now. But all I have to do is towards the end of the stream, I have to go back on here and be the host. Because right now I'm not the host. This is my second account. So, uh, anyways, what were you saying?
What was I saying, buddy? I'm taking all these damn screen time. You go ahead. You say something. I feel terrible for you, man.
Well, first of all, we were talking about favorite scenes, right? Where did it start getting rocky when I was talking?
Hell yeah. I was just listing some of my favorite scenes, but I would love to hear some of yours.
Did you catch what I was saying before?
I didn't know.
Well, some of my favorite scenes are the hedge maze stuff. I love all that. When Jack is snapping on his girlfriend, and is threatening to bash her brains. I'm gonna bash the fuck in. You know, that's a great scene.
Darling light of my life, I'm not gonna hurt you. The best, man. Long live Jack Torrance, man.
Oh yeah, I love Jack Nicholson in this movie. He's just such a great actor in this, and yeah, he's playing crazy, but he plays it so good. I just can't help it, man. He's just such a good actor in this. Um, some of the other thing, there's three key scenes that really got to me when I was a kid, and the one scene is the blood scene coming out of the elevator. One scene is the dog scene, and the other scene was the old woman scene. Those three scenes really creeped me out as a kid, and were always being embedded in my mind as being disturbing scenes. A lot of the shots I enjoy, like Danny on the bike going to the hotel, was fantastic. Um, and when Jack snaps, it becomes very creepy, and you always wonder if, like, what role does the ghost play in the movie? Like, they are obviously very important to the film. I wonder if it was like 100% supernatural, if it was all in Jack's head. Like, you could do so much with that. It's just incredible.
Yeah, they're amazing because um they're all kind of like monotone too, like Joe Turkel as the bartender, he's kind of just monotone. And I love Delbert Grady, who he knocks into at the bar, and he's just like kind of monotone. He's like, aren't you the guy that chopped up your kids with the axe? And he's like, no, sir. He's like, that's not me. I've never been the caretaker here. You have always been the caretaker here, Mr. Torrance. Which I love. I think that is so damn scary. And something that a lot of people don't realize is at the beginning of the film when they say that the original guy that killed his wife and family with the axe, his name was Charles Grady, and at this scene he introduces himself as Delbert Grady. So I always was like, what the fuck does that mean, man? Like, it's fucking odd, man. And I don't know. I have a theory. Well, I'm not a fucking critic or an analyst here. And what I say is not fact. I will preface by saying 237 fucking documentary. I don't know. I just have a theory about it. But what do you think of that scene? And also, Dakota Counts. Don't know of you, but how are you? I'm good, man. Link to my channel. I've commented somewhere in here. Just look for one of my comments. My channel's name's Grande Graveyard. Grande's Graveyard. I do a horror show too.
I'll be posting a link in the description when the video's done. When we're done here, I'll be posting a link to his channel. He's an awesome show, dude. He's done so many amazing episodes. I've basically been not really binging it, but like every other week or every other, not even really week, every other like 3 or 4 days, I go back and I watch some of my favorite episodes. And I just got done watching the Dario Argento triple show, I guess you could say. Talk about 3 movies in that show. It's a great stream, and I really recommend it.
Thanks, brother.
And by the way, guys, oh, no problem, man, no problem at all. Sorry that my streams are not worthy.
Oh, bullshit! Your streams are worthy, bro. Your streams are worthy, dude.
Your work.
I feel like fucking Wayne's World. We're worthy. We're worthy. You're worthy, dude. Your streams are way better than mine. You get mad fucking people watching them too. Like, I'm just sitting there by myself.
John, yeah.
I'll get motherfuckers
Your voice
to pop
is
in.
Nothing but glitch, dude.
I'll get motherfuckers to pop in. They'll be like,
nothing but glitch.
What? What happened?
Your voice is nothing but glitch.
My voice?
Well, like, it's good now, but it was glitched for a second. It was like, I was like, what the?
Bro. This stream.
I was like, John, you trying to speak the Aztec language or something?
Bro, this stream has been a fucking hilariosity, bro. This is like, what the fuck? I'm speaking in different languages.
Oh my god.
Nate's on his fucking iPhone, just like wondering about life right now. I'm chilling with my Ninja Turtles.
I'm sorry, man.
Dude, nothing to be sorry about. This was a lot of fun. Like, it's such a fucking train wreck, but it's a fun train wreck. I'm glad to be on it. I'm on the caboose.
It's a painful one for sure. I totally forgot what thing I was gonna say. Oh yeah, I can't read your guys' comments. I'm on my phone, so if I don't read anything, I apologize for that.
Yeah, Dakota told me to check out his channel. I will. As soon as we're off here, I'll you and one other person, was it Chuck? No, it's Internet Eric. Internet Eric also hit me up. So I'll sub to you both as soon as we're done here.
Oh, those are 2 wonderful people. Those are great people.
Sure they are. You have like almost 350 subs. You're getting too famous for me, Nate.
I don't know how the hell. I mean, you'll be getting there, man. You have to, bro. Your personality is just through the roof. Puts mine in the fucking ground, man. You're an awesome personality.
Dude, thank you. Yeah. I would love to get to 350 someday, so hopefully.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. For sure. I'd love to see you there. I'd love to see you get there, man. What's your thoughts on the soundtrack, the music? How does the music hold up for you?
I love it. I love that opening fucking score is so iconic. Like, I actually got the privilege. I saw this movie in the theater a couple years ago. TCM re-released it with a 4K restoration. The minute it opened, I nearly creamed in my pants. I thought I was gonna have to change my pants. It was just like the most awesome. I was like, yes, like, boom, 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 boom. So badass, bro. I love that fucking opening score. As you pan over the water and then see the car going to The Shining, going to the hotel. I love that. And I also always really, really loved the ending song, Midnight and the Stars and You, as they show that final picture from 1921 with Jack Torrance. So damn haunting, man. A really, really haunting fucking uh ending song. But how about you, man? Do you like the score?
Oh man, the score is just wonderful. Am I sounding clear now?
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Oh, okay. All right, just making sure. Just making sure. I agree. It's really a subtle score too. It's not really anything too massive. It's just a very it kind of fits the movie. It's very subtle. It's very soft, but it's very creepy. And that opening title sequence happens, and that song hits. It's just such a creepy sound, and it's just so well done. What about the atmosphere of the snow and stuff like that? Did you like the atmosphere of it? And I always thought the movie made me feel cold while watching it, man. It always felt cold and icy. Like, ooh, it felt you feel the atmosphere of this movie.
Dude, you really do. And that's the thing that I think like the people that are hardcore for the book, they always say "Oh, well, in the book the movie burns and it's a warm book." But man, horror is a cold genre. So I love that snow atmosphere because it adds to the claustrophobia, it adds to the cold tone of the film. It stands for the cold descent to madness that Jack Torrance makes. And I don't know, man, I just have a blast with the atmosphere and the feeling of like when I watch, winter horror films, The Thing, Let the Right One In, like those are the movies I watch around, the wintry time of the year. I think that really stands up, man. It really truly does. Um,
Hmm.
it's one of those January horror movies or February horror movies that I just love. Like when it snows out, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get a shovel, I'm gonna fucking move the snow away, and then I'm getting some cocoa, some popcorn, and sitting my ass down watching Jack Nicholson go nuts. Like that's just the best thing you can do with it. But here's a question for you. Um, would you consider this? I know it's not a haunted house movie per se, but it's more of a paranormal, haunted location movie. Where would this rank for you in like haunted house, haunted whatever movies? Like, would it rank towards the top of the list for you?
Yeah, yeah, totally. I think, especially for rated R horror films, because I would say Poltergeist, my favorite, but it's PG. But for rated R horror, like that's why I never got. And I know you like it. I know I respect that, but I think it's miles better than stuff like The Conjuring and like even though I do love Insidious, I just think this movie doesn't feel doesn't feel because those movies were really part of that trend of the time. This really wasn't a trend. This is totally unique, and I would have to say out of rated R ones, I think it stands really strong amongst all the others. Um, it's just a very pure horror film. I think the ghost aspect is what adds the creepy factor to it because even though there are ghosts in it, they're not the kind of ghosts that other movies try to portray. Like they aren't see through or a major part of the plot. They're just kind of there. They're not really moving things. They're really more affecting the characters in more a psychological way. So I really enjoyed that. But yeah, I think it's a very, very strong ghost movie. Easily one of the best ones ever made. Easily.
Totally agree with you, man.
Um, when Jack snaps, though, I have to ask you, when you was watching the movie for the first time, did you really feel that performance coming out of the shell? Like when that scene happened? Like I remember when I first seen that scene where he goes crazy. I remember that being the moment where I was like, "Yeah, dude, that is a great scene right there." And you're really seeing the actor. Well, I mean, Jack Nicholson does a great job in everything, but in that key scene right there in the movie is when you really see it, and you're like, "Whoa, this is such a groundbreaking performance right here."
Yes, definitely. I like how he's okay. He's scary, but he's also still the animated Jack Nicholson that we all know and love. Like similar to how he tackles the Joker. He's funny and quirky and throwing out one-liners as the Joker, but he's also scary as fucking shit. That's the difference. Like a lot of people, they just go for the creep element, and then they're not as charismatic, they're not as animated, they're not as fun. He was able to channel them both at the same time. And I know I've heard people say they feel he went over the top. I think going over the top is a good thing in a movie like this, because he was still able to scare you and he was still able to entertain you. Isn't that the two most important things a horror antagonist can do? Is scare and entertain? I think it is. I mean, Jason Voorhees is a scary fucking character, man. But he's also entertaining when he picks up a girl in a sleeping bag and whacks her against a fucking tree. It's scary, but it's entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's able to channel that, and it really does burst off the screen, man. I love that performance. I love when he's taunting her while he's in the ice box, and he's like, I might have
Mm-hmm.
done something to the CB radio. Go see what I mean. Go check it out. Go check it out. And Kubrick does that awesome. He kind of puts the camera on the ground, just lays on his back as Nicholson's banging the door. He's like, go check it out. That's great fucking acting, man. That is Jack Nicholson at his best, man. I think it's one of Nicholson's best performances, man.
Do you think he was over the top at all? Because some people felt his performance was a little too much. Do you feel like he struggled with that, or was it the perfect? I think it's the perfect amount. I think it's just the way he played it was just perfect to me.
Total happy medium, man. I think it's total happy medium. I really do. I agree with you completely. I think he brought a little bit of both and measured them perfectly, and I think he knocked it out of the park, man. I think it's one of the best performances in the history of the genre. Definitely uh, one of the best of the '80s as well.
Oh yeah, for sure, definitely. Of course, if you bring up this movie's cast, we can talk about Shelley Duvall and Danny. I mean, what are your thoughts on their performances? And yeah, we gotta talk about Shelley Duvall and Danny's performance. I know. What would you say about Shelley Duvall though and Danny's
Well, hold
performances?
on. Let's hear
Because
your
they're hard
thoughts.
to
I feel
talk
like
about.
I've talked too much on the stream. I need to hear the legendary horror boy. Give me a little something, something, man. Please answer some of your own questions. I feel
Yeah,
so
it's
bad.
like you get your thoughts.
Yeah, I'm like. So I think the Pythagorean theorem. And then I go on for 10 minutes, and then you're just like, well, whoop, and then I'm like, fuck. I'm like, all right, I'm here with my thumb up my ass, you know. But yeah, man, what do you
Well,
think of Shelley Duvall?
um, I I thought it was a little weird. Like at times, I thought the delivery was a little like off. I'm not gonna try and be mean to her. She's a wonderful. Back in the day, she's wonderful. Now she deals with a lot of, you know, mental stuff, which is very saddening. And unfortunately, I've seen like clips. It's just horrible what she has to go through now. I will say I liked her in other stuff I've seen her in, like Popeye, some plays. She does well there. I think maybe what it is that Stanley Kubrick was just on her so much in this movie. He pretty much just through this entire film was saying that she was garbage, was saying that she wasn't delivering her lines right, and maybe that was what it was. I mean, you got to be able to let your actress breathe. You got to be able to let them do their own thing, and I think what Kubrick should have done was let her do her own character. Like I feel like if she was able to do it her own way without it being so strongly on the script, I feel like it would have been a lot better. But like I said, Shelley Duvall is a great actress, but I think that's the problem there. I think that's the problem is where it was just so strict on her that, and it was so based on the script. Whereas I feel like Jack didn't have to do a lot of script stuff. He was mainly just going there and acting crazy. Maybe it was scripted. I don't know. But um, it definitely isn't a like flawless performance, but I feel like it could have been better. But I also feel like it's not really her fault. And then I really thought that Danny did a good job in the movie. I mean, Danny's a very good. The kid who played him did a great job playing him, and I always thought that was a creepy thing where he speaks with his finger. Hello, Mrs. Torrance. Like that's always a really cool thing with the character that I've always thought was well done. and also his facial expressions. I mean, when he gets scared and you see him like his face just become horrified, you buy it. It's like this is the kid. So I thought that was very well done as well.
I agree completely, man. I'll start off with Danny. I think Danny's performance is great. I think what's the kid's name's Danny Lloyd, right? I
Yeah,
think he does.
Daniel Lloyd.
I think he does a really, really good job in the role. I think he's a cute kid, but he's also, like he's scared and I agree. And I always was afraid of red rum, red rum, red rum. That scene itself has fucking made its way into pop culture, and it still stands the test of time to this day. That kid saying red rum and her seeing it spell murder backwards in the mirror. That always his performance is great. And I also love how he leads Jack Nicholson out into the hedge maze and kind of jumps back on his steps to try to trick him. I thought that was really, really brilliant stuff. I thought the kid did a great job. And also I got it with Shelley Duvall, man. Shelley Duvall's bad. Shelley Duvall is like really fucking bad. For one thing, okay, I've always said this too. This will sound a little crazy, but this is how I feel. If you're an attractive actress, you can be a bad actress, and I could still get behind you because at least you have screen presence and you're hot, and I could be like, all right, you stink, but you have beautiful fucking ass, or you have a beautiful set of tits, like you know what I mean? Like there's something about that we can get behind. With Shelley Duvall, man, she's ugly. That's for one thing, and she can't act worth a shit. So it's really hard to kind of get behind Shelley. I kind of laugh at it sometimes. Like there's a point where she's like, "This is impossible," and Jack Nicholson kind of just like repeats it. He's like, "This is impossible." I love that. Like he's taunting her. I'm just like, yo, like Jack Nicholson's just having a ball, just making fun of Shelley. I thought that was awesome. But yeah, I think she's kind of bad, be honest with you. Not a film breaker for me, but definitely she's not the strongest female protagonist. Not one of the better final girls. We'll say that, good brother Nate, in the history of horror, because she really doesn't have screen presence or good acting ability. So she's kind of. You know what amazes me is that you said you liked her in Popeye, and I agree she's better in Popeye. She did these two movies back to back. She worked with Nicholson and Robin Williams back to back. Those are two of the best actors of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that incredible? I think that's
Can you
crazy.
imagine getting those? Imagine getting those film casting for that. Like I'd be like, oh my god, I got to be in a Robin Williams movie and Jack Nicholson movie. Oh my god,
Yeah, I
that'd be
thank my lucky
flipping.
stars, man. And I look like Shelley Duvall. I mean, you'd have to thank your lucky stars.
Is there really much more we can touch on? I think we kind of discussed everything, man. Music, cinematography. I mean,
I mean,
cinematography too. What are your thoughts on cinematography?
oh man, the cinematography is fantastic. I believe was it
I
John
agree.
Alcott? Uh, I believe it doesn't say on the back here. I believe John Alcott is the guy that did the cinematography. Just a fucking master. Just the movie looks so fucking great. It's a shame they could not get him back for Full Metal Jacket. He passed away. But John Alcott's a fucking legend, man. Really, really great
Mm.
cinematography. And I think I will say, like if I wanted to give closing final thoughts on this movie, I think it's a horror movie that stands the test of time. I think it forever remains scary. We forever remember Jack Nicholson's fantastic performance. And I think it's a movie where I think the director shines brightest. It's one of the only horror movies that is like that. I would say this and Suspiria maybe are the two horror movies that really shine brightest because of the person behind the camera. And that's not selling Mr. Nicholson short. I mean, without Jack Nicholson, I don't know if this movie has the reputation or legacy that it does now. But those two together, man, and Kubrick especially taking his talents and bringing them to the horror genre, I think it's a work of art. If I had to rate this movie out of 10, I'm gonna say perfect. This is my third favorite horror film of all time. Stanley Kubrick's The Shining is a 10 out of 10 for me. But how about you, man? What would you rate this out of 10? And where would this rank? I know you did the top list, so it's a little bit. I know your top list, but where does this rank on the top Nate Murphy horror films of all time, man?
I think when I ranked the movie, I think I put it at number 7 or 6, maybe 5. It was definitely my top 10. I think it's one of the best out there, one of the best ones. Um, I got into it a lot personally, and I really loved it. And ever since I first seen it, I've always been back in Reener. And I know where I'm at snow right now. That's why I kind of want to do this because it's kind of that winter setting. You know what I mean? It's one of those movies you discuss, like talk about in the winter, and yeah, it's got a really good atmosphere. Like you said, it's got wonderful cinematography. I mean, my favorite thing about the movie is Judd Nicholson, the cinematography, and the score. Those are all three of my favorite things about this movie. And those three things right there is what really sells me. Of course, everything else is wonderful, but those three things alone is what really gets me in this movie. Is that it's really a stylistic horror film, and of course, I love horror. I think it's so hard to make a good psychological horror film, but when it's done well, I love it a lot. And the psychological aspect is stuff like Jack going crazy, but yeah, I think it's a wonderful film. I haven't seen Doctor Sleep yet. Maybe one day. I don't, and it's surprising to me they had actually made Doctor Sleep, accurate or going back to Stanley Kubrick's from not the '90s version, but they actually went back and did the '80s film. I was surprised by that. But yeah, dude, I I absolutely love The Shining. There's not much else I could say. It's a masterpiece, dude.
Do you have much
10 out of
interest
10 for me.
in
I
do you
agree.
have much interest in the sequel? Like, because I honestly don't. Like, I've heard nothing but good, but at the same time, I feel like The Shining's a movie. It doesn't need a sequel. It really, truly does not need a sequel, man.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think it needs a follow up at all. I mean, even though the novel does follow up the novel, when you put it back on this, I don't think you need a sequel at all because it's a full circle story through. And I mean, you can't, in my opinion, top Jack Nicholson. It's just that performance alone was just well done, and I don't just really need to make any more. There's no particularly. But yeah, I don't. Even though I really want to see the movie, I'm interested in seeing it. I'm not. I didn't go out on opening day and see it in the theater. I was just, all right, I'll see it one day, kind of that thing.
I'm the
Kind of
same
like
way, man.
other movies. Like a lot of movies that come out nowadays, I don't go, oh my god, I gotta go see the theaters. Last time I did that was Joker, but everything else has been just kind of like, I'll see it later. Nah, I'll see it later. Star Wars, I'll see it later. It's like how it is right now with movies.
Isn't it sad, man?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I remember when movies coming out left and right, being like, oh my god, whoa, I'm gonna go see that. Oh, that still looks so. Now it's like, another reboot, another universe movie. It's like, dude, it's just like we gotta get more in the market, dude. It's overflowed with like prequels, sequels, remakes, reboots, readaptations, and universe films. Like I'm tired of these universe films. I'm tired of them, dude.
They
There's too
stink.
many of them. Oh yeah, they're horrible. Well, I mean, the idea of giving all these franchises universe is what really makes me mad because they don't need it. They don't need it.
They really don't, man. You're right. Gideon says hi, by the way.
All right, hi Gideon. Say hi on my phone doesn't have the message part of it, but what's up, Gid? How you doing, man? Sorry for the messy stream.
He's good. Dahmer.
um. Anyways, is that pretty much it? You want to wrap it up, or you got anything else you want to say?
Yeah,
Some
sure.
closing statements.
I had fun. I had a good time. I'm sorry that all the technical difficulties happened, man. I feel terrible.
I am so sorry, John. I'm ashamed that this happened because I really wanted to be a top notch, high quality stream, but the equipment let me down. Or the site, I don't know what happened, but something let me down over here. Everyone throw me a damn bone. So, yeah, I'm really sorry about that. But as always, it's so awesome to have you on the stream, man. It's been a blast. Thank you so much for doing this, and I'm really sorry that this didn't turn out better, man. I'm really
Dude,
sorry, but at least we had some
dude,
fun.
dude, don't even worry about it. I had a blast as always with the Horror Boy. Thank you for being so cool and inviting me on the show. I was glad I was able to make it. You told me like yesterday, and I was like, yo, I'm down to talk, Shining with my good buddy Nate. Gideon's about to throw in Pumpkinhead in his VHS player. That's pretty cool. I probably watch some horror too. Maybe we'll keep talking horror over Facebook Messenger, Nate. We can talk whatever we're watching. Maybe we'll watch a movie together or something like that. But you do,
Yeah,
thank
that'd
you
be
as
fun.
always for being so cool and having me on. It means a lot. I'll try to get you on the show sometime soon. I was in talks. Don wants to come on my show, so that may happen. A little flashback horror movie
Really?
reunion. I have a lot of shit I'm dealing with right now with like work and stuff, but when I find time to do that, that show will hopefully happen. And I'd love to have you on again. Maybe we. Oh man, there's so much we could talk about. Maybe we could talk more Star Wars movies or something.
Oh yeah, I was actually wondering if you want to talk some Star Wars, man. I was wanting because I know me and you are kind of on the same page with the newer movies. Maybe we can have a cool conversation with the new movies,
Hey,
or any of them actually. The original trilogy doesn't matter; it's up to you.
you say the word, brother, and I will be there.
Oh, all right, man. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much for being on, dude. It's been a blast. Thanks everybody for watching out there. I'm so sorry it was a rough show, but I tried to get through it as best as I could. And next time, I'm gonna have a new PC, so this should not be happening next time. Hopefully, cross our fingers. Anyways, thank you so much, John. Thank you guys, everybody out there, for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.
Too sweet, guys. Peace.